It's definitely been bigger. A lot went into it, a lot of pre-production. It was about 8 months of pre-production, which is by far the most compared to any other film, which has been about 2 months, I'd say. And it was definitely longer shooting days, pushing more than 12 hours for the bulk of them. So in that sense, it was just longer all around.
For me, it's mainly, well, I think it's the same thing. It's just the planning. I think we've established that I really suck at planning. So it's mostly not winging it anymore, which that's what I usually do. But it works, so.
For me, that's hard to answer, and especially from a writing standpoint, I think, because when you're writing something, you want to put part of yourself into a character, because writing in general, the best thing to write comes from experiences. So in that sense, when you're crafting a character, you want to put a lot of thought, a lot of yourself into each and every character, so that they feel true and they feel real to the audience when they watch it. So honestly, for me, I don't think I have a favorite character, just because of that reason, that it's like picking a favorite child.
You ever get that feeling that someone up there has stopped watching over you?
I think it would be between Avery, which is played by Callie, or James, that's played by Will. I think it's mainly because they're both mainly on screen, but both of them have kind of like their own demons going on, and I think it's that's what drives the character more. You want to know more about them.
You know, I used to ask myself why your mother spent so much time in this chair.
And I think if you're talking dialogue, though, too, I do like Bailey's character. He plays Ben with, I mean, because he's a comic. There's so much heavy drama in the film itself that I think when you get into how do you relieve that, I think his character, there's moments, because he's not outwardly funny, but I think those little hints that you throw in there is a nice break from that. Going from the casting standpoint, casting actually began early. I think the script was done. I mean, the script was constantly in revision and work, but going from casting in general, that started about 2 months in. So that gave me about 6 months really from initial start till shooting that we were able to cast. And when you're looking at casting a character, you have your own preconceived idea of what they should be when you're going into it. However, as you go through and you're starting to see these renditions or how these people portray the characters in their auditions, you end up finding little things in each of them, like, well, I didn't even think about that when writing. So that can play out sometimes for the better.
You know, going in, I read the script, and then you make decisions during that time about your character and how you want them to react to certain things.
So as far as knowing if they're going to be good or not, that really comes on with how do they handle the material. That's the fundamental aspect. You know, are they camera shy? How do they act on the camera? That's the key thing.
He feels like he's missing a part of him. He's really depressed. He's broken, vulnerable.
So once you have the fundamentals down, then it's up to ultimately how do they portray this character and how do they make it relate to them. And so everybody who was cast for this project took the characters that were written and were able to put themselves into it, which is always a huge thing. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, Mario?
NSYNC, definitely. I hate the Backstreet Boys. That blonde dude, I hate him so much. You have no idea.
Given that I have all their posters in my room, it's hard for me to decide. But no, I can't pick between Backstreet Boys or NSYNC because I liked them both growing up. So that's, it would switch weekly.
I want it that way.